Hey everyone, today is Monday, September 14th, 2015. My name is Adult Jen, and I have something really exciting to share. But I guess in order to have you better understand what I'm going to talk about, I need to talk about, give you a little preface, a little history about this topic. When I was a freshman in high school, I started having seizures. Um, that's pretty much it. And they went from freshman year to through sophomore year, and at the end of sophomore year, I finally had a grip on them. For a really long time, my family and I didn't know whether they were epileptic or if they were pseudo seizures. And the difference between the two is that an epileptic seizure is neurological, while as a pseudo seizure is mental. They're brought on by stress or anxiety or things like that. Um, so I was put on different types of medication, and like I said, I had a grip on them, and they were non-existent for quite some time. So I was weaned off the medication, and that was that. I went a few years medication free and seizure free. So it was very disheartening when around this time last year they started happening again. And this time though they were a lot more intense. They would happen consecutively and longer, and the way that they happened were just the dynamic of them was a lot different. Um, there have been times when I'll give you a couple of examples. There was a time I left my house a couple months ago to go to work. I shut and locked my door, and that's the last thing I remember. My neighbor had found me face down next to my car on the pavement, called an ambulance, and I woke up in the emergency room. I had blacked out. I don't remember anything that had happened prior to me or after me locking my door. Another example is a couple weeks after that, I was taking a shower and I woke up in my sister's bed. I had fallen in the shower. I looked like my nose was broken, but thankfully it wasn't. It was just really swollen. My lip was busted, and I had seized out in the shower. There have been so many times that I've had seizures in bed. I've fallen out of bed. I've had them in public places. I've had them with friends. I've had them with people that I was romantically involved with. And it honestly it was and it still is to an extent a very big stress. It's a stressor in my life, And I've had the different tests done. I've had EEGs done. I've had CT scans, CAT scans, anything and everything, you name it. I've had it done, all except for one thing. I refused to go get an extended EEG done. And what an EEG is it's having wires hooked up to your head and monitoring brain waves and how your brain is doing, basically. And after I was released from the hospital back in May, I had this prescription to get a 24-hour EEG done. And I was really just scared to actually go and do it and get it done. I was on different medications, and they weren't as consistent, so I felt no need. I'm like, you know what? They're always going to be some involved in my life in some way, so I'd rather have it be very few rather than a lot, And I was content with having one or two every now and again. That saying ignorance is bliss really suits the situation well and describes how I felt towards everything, because I didn't want to know, what if I had gotten this EEG done and I got results that I didn't want? What if something was really, really wrong with me? I was terrified, So rather just not know, But after these things started putting strains on my relationships with people and made me have to second guess doing the things that I love doing, I realized, it's time to just do it. And so with working in school, it was hard to actually schedule a 24-hour EEG. So what I did was I scheduled a 12-hour one, and I had that today. But instead of having it be a full 12 hours, it was only 8, because that's all I was able to sleep for. I had to stay up all night up until this morning when I went in, and I slept thinking, well, they had hoped that I'd be able to sleep for 12 hours, but I don't sleep. I don't think it's possible for me to sleep for 12 hours. It's just too long. So I slept for 8, and they said that that was substantial enough, especially considering that I've had 30-minute ones done. 8 hours is a lot, you know. So luckily the aide that was with me while I was sleeping, when I came to, she told me that I did not have any seizures, which is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing, because the whole point was for me to have a seizure and for them to monitor and see what my brain waves were doing while having a seizure. But it's also good because I don't like doing that. I don't like waking up and feeling like shit, because that's what happens. When I wake up, I feel like I've run a marathon. My whole body just aches for so long, and it's just an indescribable pain. Honestly, it sucks. So it was good to not have to worry about feeling shitty after all that, but I'll get the results back soon, and we'll go from there. But honestly, guys, this is just a really big step for me. Like I said, I was terrified of getting this done and doing it, but it feels good to finally, after so long, be able to do it and maybe get some answers that I very, very desperately need. So go adulthood and responsibilities and taking care of yourself. But thinking back to, or talking about all of this, actually makes me think of back in high school when I would have these, and all of the shitty things that kids would say about me, saying that I was faking them and things like that. Like, I am not an outgoing person. I was definitely not an outgoing person in high school. I was very, very to myself. I was painfully shy, and I didn't like having attention put on me. So it didn't feel too great to have myself be put out there against my own will. Like, this isn't something that I planned on doing. So to have my name be thrown out there and have it be connected to some negative thing, like seizure girl and liar and fake, and kids are just really mean in high school. And my self-esteem was already extremely low in high school, and to have people say that about me didn't really help at all. So, and even now, there were times when I would go into the emergency room and come to, like I said, remember my neighbor had found me face down on the pavement, and I woke up in the emergency room. At that time, I had woken up. There was no one with me. My neighbor didn't come with me. Everyone was at work. No one knew where I was. There was no one to call or have come by or anything like that. And to explain the situation, like, oh, you know, these are pseudo seizures, or so we think. Well, like this happens. So to wake up and just not really know what's going on, but to hear nurses say, oh, you know, she's putting on a really great act while she's super committed to this, it really knocked me down. Like, for a time I thought I was losing my mind. I thought I was going insane. Like, is this what's going on with me, you know? Like, doctors don't think it's epilepsy. Pseudo means fake, like not real. That's just a nice way of saying it. So it made me question myself a lot, you know? Like, what's going on with me? Why is this happening to me? And it just sucked. So I guess what I'm trying to say is don't judge people so harshly unless you know the full story, and no one ever knows the full story unless you are actually the one experiencing it. So don't be a dick, guys. Because you never know what people are going through. So anyway, yeah, I'm super pumped about this, and once I figure out the results, once I get those, I will definitely keep you guys updated on that. Not that anyone cares, but this is my video journal thing, and this is a very prominent thing in my life. So yeah, okay, well, that's all I got. Until next time, guys.